and welcome to the Tabia Pope Show. I am your host, Tabia Pope, and for another episode of the Tabia Pope Show. For all of you that are returning viewers, thank you so much for subscribing to our YouTube channel, as well as connecting with me on social media. For those that are new to the show, welcome again. The Tabia Pope Show is an image management talk show focused on enhancing men and women's communication skills, image, and lifestyle. Now, if you would like to be on the show, please email me, media@tabiapopeshow.com. The show features behind the brand transformations, successful personal brands, as well as expert image professionals on the entire gamut of image, communication skills, and lifestyle. So on today's show, I'm talking about career advancement with Dr. Towanna Freeman. Dr. Towanna Freeman is the principal consultant for Towanna Freeman and Associates, an active management consultancy in the greater Washington, D.C. area. Additionally, she is the founder of the Black Life Coaches Network, a membership community for over 300 certified coaching professionals, as well as she's also an advocate for young women. Freeman conducts workshops and conferences where she impacts a life-changing message that presents hope and inspiration. She is also the co-author of an award-winning book, Purposeful Action: 7 Steps to Fulfillment, where she reveals a 7-step method for identifying and effectively pursuing personal and professional goals. As a much sought-after executive coach, Freeman also delivers custom keynotes, coaching, and training programs designed to assist organizations in their efforts to equip their leaders and key contributors with the skills, competencies needed to excel in today's changing business environment. Thank you so much, Dr. Towanna Freeman, for coming on the Tabia Pope Show.
It is a pleasure. I'm honored. I'm humbled. I don't even know. I mean, I've known you for so long. I have tears in my eyes as I was watching you do the introduction. Even though you were reading my bio, it was just me knowing you for so long, Tabia. It's my honor to support you.
Well, tell the audience, for those that maybe don't know how we know each other, tell them a little bit about our background together.
You know, I'm glad you're going to let me do that, because I was hoping you would do that. So for those of you who have just known Tabia as the host of this wonderful show, 15 years ago, when I first launched the Young Women's Empowerment Network, which is my nonprofit organization for teen girls, I was hosting these events in the DC area. It was 3 consecutive weekends, and we were running ads on the radio. And I got a call from this wonderful woman who was the mother of this doll that's on this, who's hosting this show, asking if I had any more room in this conference for her daughter. And when I met the two of them, it was the beginning of a wonderful relationship. Tabia walked in, and I have pictures, Tabia. Oh my God. I need to put some Throwback Thursday.
My eyes.
You came in and you were wearing blue. At the time they had those really funky decorated tights, and you were wearing blue. You were brilliant. You were so saucy and spicy at the time. You've always been who you are today, just from the very beginning. You wanted to have your own show. You were 13 talking about, I want to have my own talk show, because you wanted to change lives. That's what you said at 13.
Wow.
And every step that you have taken, and I've witnessed it for those who don't know, my position as her mentor, yes, we got into a lot of conversations in the conference and workshops, but our relationship grew outside of that environment. And it was my pleasure to help serve her and her mom in all those years. And just to see you here, oh my God. And congratulations on you being a doctoral student. I mean, geez.
Thank you.
And guys, she went to Howard University. Not that she's following in my footsteps. Her mama went to Howard too. But it was just an amazing match made in heaven, I believe that. And
yes,
so Tabia, you are definitely doing exactly what you said you wanted to do. It was your passion then, and I'm glad to see it manifesting.
Thank you so much. It's truly, you have been an inspiration to me. And as my mom said, next to her, it's you. You both made me into kind of who I am today and inspired me to just continue your passion. And I hope to also inspire others to never give up on what it is that God has in store for you. And if you continue to work for it, God will provide. And that's just my story,
Amen.
and my testimony to everyone out there. So
Yes.
let's talk. You talked about a little bit about me, but let's talk about you as well. Let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey as well. So tell me a little bit, my audience, about your journey.
Right. So the when I started the Young Women's Empowerment Network, that nonprofit for teen girls, back in 1999, the whole point and purpose of it was for me to get. It was my give back. It was my social entrepreneurship. I was still in corporate America. I was working a 9 to 5. It wasn't anything that I was doing as a full time career. It was something that I was called to do. It was something that I believed that it was my response to the community's need to help girls with their personal journeys. At the time we started this, there was, the whole, war on drugs was just coming to a corner, and a number of girls were going to juvenile detention centers, which in record numbers, which is what we had never would have ever seen. And so we had so many wonderful girls in the communities that had so many gifts and talents, and they were a lot of the girls that wanted to do the right thing and the girls that were brilliant were kind of intertwined and mingled in a population that was kind of dimming their light and giving them the ability to grow. So I felt it was my calling to do whatever I could to create an atmosphere for those girls to either escape their environment, where their peers weren't necessarily in congruent with their own passions, and give them that opportunity. That turned into just me working in the DC area to a national tour. And
Mm.
that ended up turning into something even greater, where my own daughter, who's now 19, has her own conference where she serves preteen girls. And so it's just something that's always been there to be. And that, girls, when you're working in social entrepreneurship, sometimes it's a thankless job.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's something that you do and people just don't know how to reward you for it, but you don't go into it because you want validation from someone else. You're going into it because you know that you can impact change. And being a leader in that space, I knew like girls like you, and you would one day grow up just like you have, and you would become exactly what you were intended to be. And so you are one of so many other brilliant young ladies who were able to take those moments that we had to share together and take it on. And that's what it was about. And so that's where I started my entire career as a thought leader, as an expert in the community as far as youth advocacy. But it also took me even further. It just didn't stop there, but that was the beginning of it.
Mhm. So you also were in project management, and that started off, I guess a lot of you dealt with a lot of frustration in project management and not being able to access professionals or Black life coaches, and that is what led you to create your network today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So my background as a chemist and mathematician, I started in IT project management. I was a chemist for several years, and then I moved into information technology, and I studied digital transmission, and that was my thing, right? So as a scientist, as a project manager, I just kind of always stayed in that space. Well, when it was time to move on from out of that, 9 to 5, I decided that in working in learning more about executive coaching and becoming more, bringing more skills to my company, I decided to become an executive coach. And so I added that skill set to my consultancy, and that allowed me to serve my client base even greater. Well, one of the challenges I found while I was out, fulfilling contracts is that they required having other coaches of color,
Mm.
and they were very, it was not easy to find them. Truthfully, at the time when we were starting out in coaching, it was just it was the new it thing, and people were becoming certified, but not enough women of color and not men of color or any of ethnic group. They didn't stand out as much. So I wanted to solve that problem. And so when I found some people that were going to help me with a couple of requirements, I didn't want to let them go. I kept their information and contact so we could, stay connected for any other future opportunity. But what I thought was just for those requirements ended up being so much more than that. And that's where the Black Life Coaches Network was established, because we decided we wanted community. We wanted a place where we can kind of come together, connect, share best practices, help each other grow in their businesses. And after a while, because I had more experience in certain areas, I became more like a mentor to
Hmm.
most of them and helping them build their businesses. And so that's where it all started. And so for the last 4 years, actually going to go on 5 years, we've had the Black Life Coaches Network. And now we have so many coaching professionals all across the globe, South Africa and Europe and Canada. So we are internationally based now. And I'm so proud and honored to be a part of a network of people who are so giving and caring, who understand the value and the power of coaching, but more so who understand the importance of community. And as you know, today in the times that we're living in with Black Lives Matter, we need people who care about the professional and personal development of
Yes.
the individual. And so that's why I can't let that go. I love it and I'm going to stick with it for a little while.
And you also have two summits under your belt as well, and you're going into your second summit. Tell us a little bit about that summit.
Right. So every year we have a business strategy summit where I bring all the invite all the membership to come and meet us in the DC area, and that summit is in every March. And so they come, they register, we get down, and it's just not one of those kind of events where you have people talking to you from the stage. You roll your sleeve up, bring your laptop. It's almost like you're in class. If you're sitting and it's like graduate study. If you want to have, some of your most challenging problems solved, bring those issues to the summit. And our speakers are instructing, they're sharing best practices, but they're also giving you the how-tos. So my hashtag I always put out is like, if you're looking for motivation, it's the wrong event. You need to be bringing your motivation to the event because coaching profession, there's no set roadmap. And so we need support and we need to be able to come in and get all the information that we need. So tools, softwares that really work for online marketing, sales, as well as content development. So as you know, being on online now with your show, you know the value of social media marketing. You know the importance of optimizing your site and doing that kind of stuff. That's what we get into because we know the power of the internet can be monetized and you can do very well if you know what you're doing.
I always say that technology now has kind of leveled the playing field in a way
Oh, yeah.
because if you can utilize technology, learn the tools that are at hand for free. There's so
Yes.
many tools now on the internet, social media networks, building your own website for free through WordPress. If you want to really build your brand and your niche for yourself, there's no reason why you can't. If
Exactly.
you want to be a talk show host, what I'm doing right now, this is on Google Plus, and Google really has created a platform. They have communities, online communities where you can start for free. If you want to host a class, if you want to become a teacher, you can do that now. They have Google Classroom, they have Google Docs. So Google has really leveled the playing field with their free
That's right.
utilization. If you utilize those tools. So I
That's
think
right.
that's excellent that your summit is that gets down and dirty, and that's what a lot of coaches do need. And it's the networking piece as well.
Oh,
That's what's
yeah.
great.
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. It's important that everyone understand that, in these days and times, if you have a passion and there's something that you really want to do, there are vehicles out there that you can use that are very affordable, if not free. And it takes the guesswork out of some of the things that used to be so hard and complicated. When I started, the internet was not like this. It was
Right.
so hard to get things done. So
Mhm.
we had to learn the hard way. We spent a lot of money, but now we cut through all that. It's like, you know what? You can start a business free, just like you said, and spend little, I mean, less than $100 a month on just making it popular. So
Mhm.
it really is not whether the technology is available, it's whether you have something to say that people want to hear.
And I like
So,
that because you always say that you want the content, right, with your coaches as well, and you want
that's
the
right.
value. Can you talk about that? Because that's very powerful for coaches or entrepreneurs that are looking to sell a product. Can you talk
Yes.
about the content enrichment?
Right. So the most important part of what we do, obviously, is we need to deliver products and services of value, right? But more than just like everyone else, what is your secret sauce? What is your sweet piece of all of that that makes it great, your secret ingredient, right? And that typically has everything to do with your expertise and your personality and delivering it. So the content and you creating products and services that stand out is about you just knowing what your expertise is and knowing how to deliver that effectively, using the right language to invite your viewer in or the next potential client in, because it's not necessarily a set roadmap to say, okay, write it like this and everyone's filling in a blank. That's not going to fly. We want to connect with your personality, just like you do on your show, Tabia. We instantly grab hold to your personality, no matter who your guests are. The question is that she's having a great guest, but the host is critical to the ability to ask the right question. So your secret ingredient is your magical personality, the way you're able to connect with your audience and really kind of bring it home. But the content that you put around that, the sales language, the emails that you use to invite people in, the summary of how you conclude your interviews and wrap up, that is the stuff that makes the difference. And so you have to know who you are, not just having the vehicle to drive down the street. You can drive a Maserati and you can come out looking like you're a bum. We all know that the vehicle is there, but the question is that how are you going to put yourself together if you're going to get into that Maserati? So you want to be polished, you want to be together, you want to have everything in order, and then get in that Maserati and take it down, because then you're in the full flow, right? Not just a piece here and a piece there and not really making it all make sense. It's like a Maserati and a bum, that doesn't really go together, it doesn't make sense. You may have everything right, but the elements are not congruent. So you want to make sure everything is wrapped in there.
Well, tell the audience a little bit about your personal and professional development yourself, because a lot of people see the success of Dr. Towanna Freeman, but there is a story behind that brand, and I think that is what makes you also unique as well, because we all have a story of how we kind of had to develop ourselves through our communication skills, image, and our lifestyle. So if you were to, I guess, write a letter to your younger self, give us a couple of tips that you would probably tell yourself about your personal and professional development.
You know, it's funny. I spent many years not believing what people had to say that was good about me. So for my younger self, I would say that the gifts and talents that you have naturally that you did not see or didn't believe, even though they've told you over and over again, I would say to Towanna, younger Towanna, you believe what they say, because you wasted a lot of time not believing in your natural gifts and abilities. So that's why, I was on such an amazing journey working with teen girls, because I wanted to make sure that they believed themselves that they were gifted and talented and they can do exactly what God had intended them to do on this earth, and their passion could lead to purpose. And so I didn't have anyone helping me with that and connecting the dots and to help me to dispel the myths that were in my own head about not being good enough. And so no matter how many times someone can tell you that, you have to believe it yourself. And so that would be my message.
Give us at least one image tip as well.
An image tip? Me?
Yes, yes. I'm sure, I'm sure, and just in passing too, of working with coaches and working with girls, what's one thing that you saw that from an image standpoint that stood out to you?
The one thing that I always, whenever any of the girls, or no matter where I am, when you enter a room, I always say that you should have or carry yourself in a way that you change the dynamic of the room just by your presence. So no matter how you're dressed, your confidence should radiate throughout that room. When those girls used to walk into our events years ago, you could recognize natural gifts and talents. Then you had the ones who were still in development, under construction. But the ones that walked into the room who were completely confident in who they were, they changed the dynamics of the room. And
You
so you
stood
can
out,
use, right, you stood out.
right?
And so a lot of times what we do is sometimes we don't, sometimes we can tone it, it could be turned up too loud, and sometimes it could be, not on at all. What I would like to say as far as your presentation, your image is concerned, is make sure that whenever you enter the room, that it's right at the right dial, that it's not too high and it's not so low that you're not observed. But when you walk into the room, that people do know that you're there, whether it's from your smile or just the way you say hello. So that would be my number one.
That's powerful. I love that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Let's briefly talk about your book as well that you co-authored, Purposeful Action: 7 Steps to Fulfillment. What can readers expect from reading this book, this wonderful book?
I wrote that book in 2009 while I was sitting on the beaches in Hawaii. And I lived in
It's a
Hawaii
great,
for,
great place to write a book.
yeah, it really was. It really was. I can't complain about that. So, for those 2 years that I was living there, I was going through the transformational experience of coaching myself because I was going through the training process. But what I thought, what I was going to do with my life was very different from what ended up happening, right? So when I was going through the experience of learning and rediscovering myself, separating myself from my corporate identity so I can step out and be my own boss and start my own company, that transition, it was a detoxing. It was a mental shift that I had to make because I was no longer the identity of someone else. I was my own. I had to stand in my own greatness. I had to be confident about who I was, right? I was no longer hiding behind the logo or banner of another company. So I had to fix that, right? Because I was quite shy about it and I didn't know
Stand
how to
on
go.
your own. I love that.
Yes,
You
yes.
stand on your own greatness.
That's right. And it was very difficult initially because it's like, wow, do I have what it takes, my skills and my intellect weren't going anywhere. It was my ability to confidently walk in a room, just like I was saying a minute ago, and have it dialed in just at the right frequency so that people will take note, right? So I spent the time in 2009 writing that book, and my co-author and I were actually great friends. We were both going through transformation at the same time. But what we did, I took case studies for clients that I was working with at the time that were very much going through what I was going through. So what readers could get out of purchasing that book is it is a case study about two women, Nicole and Carol, who go through the transition of making the decision to say yes to themselves and
Mm.
not compromising and not continuing spending another day of their lives sacrificing what they want, when they want it, and how they want it for the sake of children, husbands, mothers, and everyone else's desires and perceptions on how they should live their lives. They took ownership and made shifts and significant changes in their lives that could have been judged if they allowed it to prevent them from moving forward, but they made the decision to be uncompromising and deciding that they were going to move forward. And that's what the book is about, not being afraid of being able to make that decision to do something that you've always wanted to do despite what everyone has to say about it.
That's so powerful. Say yes to yourself.
Yes.
Stand on your greatness. Those are excellent tips. Thank you for that. So let's also, because that book also talks about pursuing your full-time passion as well. So
Yeah.
when is the right time to pursue your passion full time? Because a lot of entrepreneurs they view their business as a side hustle, right? And kind of coming away from that term side hustle, because if it's something that's in you and that you want to do, it shouldn't be on the side per se. You have to kind of find that the transition from
Right.
when you're going to make that transition. But a lot of people don't know when to make that transition. So can you give our audience some guidance on when to make that transition from what you want to pursue full time to your 9 to 5, and it may not align.
Right. No, that's exactly right. And it is about knowing that, and I keep it really simple. It's about money. So let's say that your income, your 9 to 5 job is your primary source of income, and your dream or your business that you've been working part-time or on in the evenings and weekends has not necessarily gained the revenue that it should so it can sustain your lifestyle. See, it's keeping it real simple. It has nothing to do with I'm so passionate about this. I'm gonna quit my job because my job frustrates me and I'm tired of this and I just want to, work on this company. It's a little bit more than that. We have to be smart about it to ensure that you can actually afford your lifestyle if you take that shift from full-time, away from that full-time job. So keep it real simple. If you can afford the move, then it's time to make the move. If you can't afford the move, then why sacrifice your lifestyle and or the comfort of your family for that? Because see, let's say if you're married and you make that decision and the finances dip drastically because you decide, I don't care what anybody has to say, I'm going to do this. The family's financial status has shifted considerably, and that could lead you into divorce court. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
So your ability to maintain your lifestyle, maintain your family's, just keeping things together and bonded and taking all things into consideration. You have to count the cost, right? So the cost of you quitting and starting this new adventure could be too high. The risk could be too high. So you know when it's time to go, when the risks are, you know, you have a mitigation for the risk plan. So you know exactly what you're going to do. You strategized it, you've worked the plan, and you know that you can absolutely pivot from one to the other without impact. Sure, there are going to be some adjustments. It's going to be some financial, you know, dip, but it doesn't have to be drastic. It doesn't have to, you know, impact your family and or change too much of things that you really need to keep you motivated. We hear stories all the time about people who lived in their cars, who refused to compromise their dreams because, you know, they were so passionate that they just couldn't do another day in the office. If that's you, then that's fine. But if that's not you, if you're not willing to live in your car, if you're not willing to be homeless and do all those other things, then I said count the cost.
Count the cost. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Towanna Freeman, for coming on the Tabia Pope Show. Let our viewers know where they can find you on the web and email you if they need any business tips as well.
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook and Twitter at Towanna Freeman, and that's Towanna Freeman. And you can, I'm on LinkedIn as well. You're more than welcome to message me or send me a instant message. Instant message is people instant message anybody, right? So feel free to instant message. You can also check out. I would really encourage you all to check out our website, blclife.com. That's where the Black Life Coaches Network are showcased, the different coaches and their gift that they give to the world regarding coaching. So blclife.com would be the other place you can find us.
And what is needed if a coach would like to join BLC Life? What is needed and what submissions requirements are there?
Right. If you want to be a contributor on BLC Live, you just need to email us, contact us to for articles to be a part of BLC Live's the contributors team. But if you want to become a member of BLC, also go to blclife.com and there's join the network, and you click on there, and there is a application for you to fill out. It requires you to be a coach, providing us with the particular group that you are serving. What industry, as well as also your bio, so that we can check out, the depth of what you do and your education, because we're dealing with people's lives, and we want to ensure that as a coach, when you refer business, that you are qualified to stand in your space as a coach and help people with their personal professional development.
Mm-hmm. And what type of coaches do you accept as well?
Wow, we are the coaches that come in. They are whether health and wellness coaches, spirituality, it's a very wide range. So we have what we call niche coaches that are in business and or life coaches. All those categorically, we accept them. A lot of them have attended certification programs that are accredited. So we really want to show you to share with us your accreditation so we know that you're certified. That allows you to receive the referral business, because we get a lot of opportunities for coaches a lot of paying opportunities for coaches. And we want to make sure those credentials are in place, just like, having your degrees if you're a doctor.
Well, thank you again. And for my audience, please email me, media@TobiaPope Show. And if you would on Pinterest, if you're looking for inspiration, follow me on Facebook or Instagram. And also after the show, have a Twitter chat with me and Dr. Towanna Freeman, also on Twitter. We would love to hear from you and what your takeaways from the show and any reviews as well. So, till next time, stand in your greatness.